If you're trying to get more protein and you're a vegan woman over 35, but you don't want to count calories, I'm going to show you exactly how I build a day with around 100 protein without counting calories. And no, you don't need to live on protein shakes. So instead of trying to chase getting 100 grams of protein for the day, just break it down. So that means at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner, the goal is going to be anywhere between 25 and 30 grams of protein. And then you're going to choose a snack, and it's going to be a high protein snack. Like that's going to equal out to about roughly 100 grams of protein for the entire day. You're going to want to build your meal around the protein first and then build your meal around that. So now I want to share a typical breakfast that I have. And so this is the thought process. It's going to be my protein source. So happens to be tofu scramble. So it's going to be protein. I'm using high protein tofu. And then I think about what's going to be my volume, meaning a non-starchy vegetable or a fruit source. So I've added some spinach. And then I want a carb. So ideally, more often than not, we want to choose carbs that are naturally high in fiber. This happens to be Trader Joe's whole wheat bread. So this is roughly 6 ounces of high protein tofu, spinach, and then the bread. So this is about, on average, 30 grams of protein right here. And I didn't track calories doing this. I just figured out how much tofu, how much of the protein that I'm going to have on my plate. Okay, so this is a typical lunch situation that I have going on. So I will pre-make, like marinade, either bake or air fry my protein source. This week it happens to be fava tofu. So I have some fava tofu here. So what I do is instead of counting calories, I weigh out the amount to make sure I'm getting a significant amount of protein. This fava tofu happens to be 5 ounces. This happens to be 5 ounces of fava tofu on my plate. And then I threw in some broccolini. And so just to be convenient, lately I've been using this pretty frequently. So this happens to be like a pad thai. It's got a little bit of vegetables and it's got a carb source and it has a lot of flavor. So I'll make that. So I'm going to put that on my plate, and half of this is offering 7 grams of protein and 6 grams of fiber. So I really appreciate this and I love the flavor. So my fava tofu that I made has the same flavors of this. If you want the recipe, just let me know. Maybe I'll make another YouTube if you guys want this to see what this is. I'll make a YouTube of how I make this fava tofu with these flavors. Okay, so I've added roughly half of the package on my plate. So I'm gonna show you a different angle so you get to see what I'm saying. The fava tofu, this is approximately 5 ounces. Some broccolini, a little pad thai, some veggies, some pasta. This is giving me roughly 30 grams of protein. Start with the protein source and think around what am I gonna add to it instead of thinking after the fact. So beans, nuts, and seeds absolutely have protein, but I don't rely on them as my primary protein source when I'm trying to build a high protein meal. These are the items that I use instead. High protein tofu, textured vegetable protein, tempeh, and then fava tofu. So now I typically have a snack between lunch and dinner, and it just kind of depends. What's my breakfast? What's my lunch? Like roughly what are my grams of protein and what am I planning on having in dinner? So I think about how many grams I already have eaten and what I plan on having. So this determines how many grams of protein am I gonna have for a snack. So I generally say anywhere between 8, maybe 20 grams of protein. It just depends what your other meals look like. So lately I've been obsessed with 3 wishes. 1 cup is offering 8 grams of protein and 3 grams of fiber. So I'm really, and the ingredients are very minimal. So I'm obsessed with this cereal lately. I've been doing a cup of this and then just pairing it with some sort of fruit. So depending what I have in season, lately I have a lot of kiwi, peaches, nectarines is what I have at the moment. So this would be a nice little combo, or roasted edamame with popcorn and a fruit source. Another item that you could do would be a high protein yogurt, Atlantic Provisions oat milk yogurt. They're offering 12 grams of protein. I would add a little bit of cereal to get some crunch and a carb source, and then add some sort of volume like berries, like I would throw in there. So those are some easy snacks that are high in protein. This is TVP Italian style, so I can up my protein intake. So this dinner to me is much on repeat just because it's so easy to make. Adding, I got my carb, which this is gonna be a high fiber bulgur wheat. I'm gonna be adding volume. So I'm gonna add this. It's just like a little salad combo of cabbage, tomatoes, and broccoli. So this is my meal. This is my dinner, and this literally took me minutes to throw together. You're a vegan woman over 35 and you want to lose body fat, lose weight, build muscle, get enough protein in without obsessing over calories, subscribe, because that's exactly what I teach here. And if you're eating healthy as a vegan but still struggling to lose fat, watch this video next because I break down some of the biggest reasons why.